Alrighty then, welcome back. We are now going to talk about the Berlin Wall, people. All right. I told you at the very start of this unit, Berlin is going to be a hot topic of debate during the Cold War, and people, it was lit. All right. Anyway, so brief reminder, remember we had the Yalta Conference and the Potsdam Conference, both of which happened at the very end of World War II, okay, deciding what to do with Germany after they defeat Hitler. All right, well, Hitler was defeated, he killed himself, blah, blah, blah. We all know the story, whatever, whatever. And Germany was immediately divided. Okay, now, they were divided because the Soviet Union wanted to have their influence in the East. We wanted to have our influence in the West, so we did. Here's the story of the Berlin Wall, though. Berlin, remember, is the capital city of Berlin. It is the most important. It's the heartland. Any capital city of any country is the heartland of that country, right? So the Berlin Wall was established in 1961. I'll explain more about that in just a second, until it was torn down in 1989. All right? There were two official countries. These were official countries: East Germany, which was communist, and West Germany, which was democratic. This wall was built by the Soviet Union to keep people of East Berlin from going into the West, into freedom, because shocking, more people would rather live in freedom than in a communist dictatorship. What? So anyway, this wall was built around the entirety of West Berlin to keep people in and to keep people from coming out, right? It was 87 miles long, which is huge. Okay? Here is a picture of it. The yellow represents the wall itself. It was around, this is Berlin, all right? So it was around all of West Berlin. The Wall, which is also the name of a fantastic Pink Floyd album. Anyway, I digress. August 12th, 1961, tipping point, all right? This is when the largest number of East Berlin refugees flood into West Berlin. They just left. Screw this. I'm not living in communism anymore. This sucks. I'd rather live in the West, right? It's cooler. They got freedom there. They can vote and open elections. Oh my God, it's so crazy. Anyway, Soviet Union gets embarrassed by this, okay? Not to be embarrassed, they close the border overnight. Fine. You want to stay there? You stay there forever, all right? Over time, overnight, backtracking, too much coffee. Overnight, the Soviet Union just put up a simple fence, okay? A chain link fence that you see wherever. Oh boy, big deal. That's going to stop people from going over because people can't, hop it. Anyway, over time, though, the wall fortified. It eventually became a 12-foot tall concrete wall, all right? Huge. Rounded top so people can't climb over it, completely smooth so people can't climb it, all right? There were landmines just like the DMZ in Korea, right? There were landmines, guard towers and dogs, flares, you name it, at the Berlin Wall to stop people from going into West Berlin or escaping in general, because shocking, people don't want to be forced to stay in one place forever. That sounds terrible, right? Hundreds of people were either imprisoned or killed in an attempt to escape, but some were actually successful. Their ways of doing so are insane, all right? Anyway, the wall itself became a symbol for tyranny worldwide, okay? Right? So that's why the rhetoric, build the wall, right, is not only offensive, first of all, but also history tells us it's never a good idea. They're not going to work no matter what you do. All right. You can't keep people in and you can't keep people from coming in. All right. It's just not good. Right. Again, the Berlin Wall was a symbol of tyranny. Okay. So imagine what that would do. Right. Eventually, it was torn down on November 9th, 1989 by the people of Berlin. Power to the people. Oh, right. They had enough. Screw this. I'm not doing this anymore. So they literally took sledgehammers and tore down that wall, people. It was insane. All right. I digress. Anyway, here's what it looked like. It was insane, people, right? You can see that it was not very easy to escape. All right. But of course, if you're desperate enough and you want it enough, people made it happen. All right. Here are some pictures of it. I love graffiti. I love graffiti so much. So naturally, I'm showing you pictures of the wall because over time, people are going to spray paint it, right? As you can see there, right? Good luck trying to read some of it. But anyway, here's a picture I took. So I went to Berlin for part of my honeymoon. All right. These pictures were actually taken at a museum, the Topography of Terror Museum in Berlin. Actually, this was site of a huge Nazi SS headquarters during the 1930s. And the wall was built right over that, which I thought was kind of interesting. But this is the longest connected piece of the wall that still stands to this day. You can walk right up to it. Again, I took this picture. I was standing in West Berlin. On the other side is East Berlin. And I mentioned this to you because it's very interesting in Berlin. You can definitely still tell the difference of where was communist influenced and where was democratic influenced. On West Berlin, the buildings are very pretty looking, right? They're buildings that you would take pictures of, right? They look very pretty. They look kind of old. They look important. On the other side of the wall, on the east side of the wall, all the buildings look the same. Literally all the buildings on that side of the wall look exactly like what you're looking at in this picture. All right. Communism, build it very quick. All right. It's good enough. And the buildings remained like that still to this day. Right. So very cookie cutter, very plain, very simple, just like what you would imagine communism to be on architecture. Is very interesting to see. The picture on the left on this slide is something that runs all throughout Berlin. Think of this similar to the Freedom Trail in Boston, right? If you've ever been to the Freedom Trail, it's a bunch of red bricks in the road. You follow it around. It's like in total, 3 miles long, the Freedom Trail. It's kind of like that, except this doesn't represent freedom, of course. And it's just representing where the wall ran through the city, all right? Through roads, through buildings, through houses. It was insane. Picture on the right is of me looking at the Berlin Wall. I am 5'2", to put that into reference for you. So the wall was pretty tall. God, it was such a cool vacation to go see that. I absolutely adored it. But right, that's kind of showing you whoa, right? The wall was huge. It was literally there. People saw it every single day from 1961 until 1989, until this happened. Here are the people of Germany finally reuniting with families, friends, right? People were literally divided by a wall for years, for decades. And so when it came down, it was kind of a symbol that democracy and freedom will always triumph over evil. So it was kind of a huge deal, people, all right? And we will stop there. Tune in for my next video about Cuba.